All right, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you're having a wonderful evening. It is Thursday. It came gentlemen.
Fast.
Oh, wow. I hope you're having because of the holidays, but we are here now, and if you're not familiar, we've been doing these live watch lists for almost 6 months now into the year, man. It's pretty wild to think about, but we got a special one here for you today. We have the recap of the day. I'm telling you, it was weird. There was a lot of weirdness in the market. It was one thing about low volume and low liquidity, all of that good stuff, but literally there was an unofficial halt on the S&P 500 and the Dow Jones. Not the ETFs, not the SPY, but the SPX. It was absolutely wild. You had everybody confused for a little bit. It did not affect trading that much, so that was one good thing. But then towards the end of the day, I'm telling you, it was an absolute news dump. Then after hours, Dell, Marvel, the AI stuff, and not so much, not the good, and the littlest of guidance misses caused another set of gigantic reactions. So we got a lot to talk about. There's even some politics too. Oh my goodness, there's a lot, but I have the plays, I got the keys, the recap, the questions, the economic lesson, all of that good stuff. I hope you got notes, a pen, a pad. I hope you got some good questions, and then I hope you like the video, drop your thumbs up, all that good stuff, and do not forget. I mean, you can't forget, honestly. That's it. We got to turn up the heat, baby. Oh, yeah, we're turning up the heat. So you with it or you're not, okay? That's me. That's me in the morning. Okay, I don't know why. It shouldn't take that long for me to pause it. Honestly, I can't believe I sound like that in the morning. I'm still pretty hyped. So we're here live Monday through Friday, 30 minutes before open, youtube.com/thestockmarket. We will see you there in the AM, babe. That's it. You don't want the news. I don't know. Do what you need to do, but in the meantime, now that we got that out of the way, my people on the recap, you're going to have to bear with me. We love you, though. You know that? I make the watch list for you guys, too. It's one thing for the people on the live, but I know y'all be working. Y'all be doing some other things, so I know it's a little different, so bear with me. I got to say what's up to the homies. What's going on, Chatadonia? What's going on, live chat? Oh, good evening. Good evening, NRG. Cart. Candy, Jericho, Wall Street, Mr. Walter White, baby. Oh, Tim Whitman. What's up, baby? Good evening. Jorge, Dan, Garbage, De La Greasy. Oh, the Bunny Killer, Justin Canto. Oh, what's up, Donald? Well, there you go. Now they start going, brah, brah, brah. Christian, FM Live. Oh, my God. I still get voice cracks in the evening. I know. What up, 3C? What up, Brandon? How are you living, Max Quality? Silver, Yunin, Donnie, Mark, Iwasaki Bombs. What's up, man? Oh, Epoch, Jorge, Broski, Javier, Mark J, baby, me, Nacho, LT, Law Term, Jorge, Alexander, CYB, Laurie, Jojo Rabbit, Devin, Canella, Batman, Fold Papers, and Ivan, and Gary, and there's a lot more, baby. What's going on? How you have so much energy? Bro, I wasn't talking for the last, 4 hours, right? When I get, 5 hours, bro. You give me 8 hours of sleep, though. I don't shut up. I'm mad. I just had 4 hours, bro. You know what I'm saying? I got food. I ate. I don't even eat when I wake up, man. Are you kidding me? I'm in a jacket still. It's kind of hot. It's getting hot in here. So by the long term, I am getting long term. I'm going to put 10% with a little bit of safe, and a little bit of trade. And, I like it when you trade. But baby, get the long term. You know what I'm saying? I'm telling you, man, some of the people who have never, seen me live and, they've only seen the watch list, they're probably like, dude, this dude is insane. I'm much more refined on the watch list. I love being live, though, man. It's good to see y'all. So are you guys locked and loaded, though? Are you ready or what? Are you ready or should we begin now? Because I'm ready to go, man. We have a lot of things to talk about. Oh, yeah, I do have the glasses. I have glasses now. It's crazy. It's crazy. I could read with utmost speed and precision now. You have no idea, bro. Oh, it's hype, man. It's next level. Maybe that's why I'm so excited. I could see. It's less effort. It's less work, baby. So that being said, Chatadonia, let's get right into it, man. The S&P and Dow got unofficially halted. So I'm starting with this because it's kind of weird. I'm telling you, today was a very weird day for many reasons. Is it weird in the sense that you should panic? No, but we'll talk about that when we get here to the final key. However, the thing about today it didn't really cause a reaction. And honestly, man, there's a couple of things you could take away from it. Number one is we just had the T+1. That was one big thing. This was the first change in settlement in the last 100 years. And so far, believe it or not, this is the second trading issue this week. The first one was on Tuesday, pre-market on the NASDAQ. However, it didn't, by the time everything opened, everything was resolved. You had nothing to worry about. But this time around, we were like, an hour and 10 minutes into the day, and then the SPX got halted. And the Dow, I don't know if you could see it. Like, if you do pull up the Dow Jones for a day, like, actually, yeah, it shows up here. Like, look, the Dow Jones was halted. It's actually wild. You go to the SPY, you hit here is again like 1041. Everything just froze. However, everything didn't freeze. It was literally the actual cash index of the S&P 500 and then the Dow Jones, but the SPY was trading normally. I was even looking for an arbitrage opportunity, and believe it or not, if you go and look at the options, like go watch the live video, go watch the live stream, the options were pricing normally. So like what I mean is that on the chain, it said the option was out of the money, but since the SPY and other things were trading, the value of the contract went up as if it was in the money. And then after some point, it was borderline moving dollar for dollar with the market, even though the cash index wasn't trading at all. So what I'm saying is, one, you just had one of the most biggest shifts here in 100 years on settlement. Could this be some of the growing pains? Of course. Number two, you could definitely learn a little bit about how the market works underneath the surface. Fact of the matter is, bro, things are always trading. It's not, the stock market world is not what you think it is. It is not the bunch of people on the Wall Street floor yelling at each other, doing all that. There's a lot of individual places to route orders. An option market is different than the whole equity market. And you really got to see how, like, at some moments, it's like, oh, what's driving the price? It's like, even with the cash indexes not moving or doing anything, I mean, you were still watching movements and a lot of things going on. So there was a chance for arbitrage if there was a gap, but today none of that existed. And that's why I was like, it was quite fascinating, because in other moments you might be able to take advantage of it, but not this time around. So very interesting, but that was the first thing. The second thing, we actually had data. We had the GDP, and we talked about it. Tomorrow, you will be getting the PCE. There was a bunch of other headlines, from China chip news down to Russia and us letting Ukraine use weapons. And then you even had Donald Trump guilty on all 36 counts. But we'll talk about some of that here when we get to the questions, I'm sure. But the point is, the data today and all of this stuff, it's like today had a lot. The reaction wasn't that crazy, but the fact of the matter is, now this is one of our worst weeks in a couple of months, and now we're getting back to giving back some of that some of that gains that we had just after volatility. I mean, it's fascinating how quickly, imagine at this moment we forgot how quickly we went up, and then vice versa back here we forgot how quickly we were just there. So pretty much, you remember that little rally after this dump 2 weeks in? Well, you gave up that last week, and once again, this pin in the market is still sustaining. So you got to watch out for that. But point was, the data had some effect, and there was all of these things going on. But sadly, it seems like everybody is still waiting for the data. And now tomorrow, that is going to be our biggest set of data, the PCE. However, sadly, I have my opinion here right there in writing for you. I don't think tomorrow is going to do anything. I think tomorrow is going to disappoint regardless of what happens. Well, I think maybe a small print would be very helpful, but even so, I'm not expecting the data to move too much. But even if it does, I really don't think it's going to be a big reaction. Sadly, I think everybody is going to punt up until Powell, and I still think you will get a reaction, but it will be low volume, and then I do think it's going to kind of start moving into this, way we have Powell and a SCP 2 weeks away. Even if we get any job inflation data, I don't think the market's ready to move with this low volume. All of these changes now, a very sensitive market to earnings, and then summer. And then again, you have the real big data in Powell coming off there. So that being said, we will watch out tomorrow morning. I don't know. I don't think I'm going to be live for the PCE. I don't think we need to wake up early. I'll give myself an extra hour to sleep in. That'll be nice. But point is, you have an effect tomorrow. If I'm wrong, then you'll get a big move. If not, then I hope you're patient. I hope you're patient. But now, I said this yesterday, man, and I'll say it again today. I said this all throughout today. I don't think you need to panic, but I do think that the groundwork for volatility is being set. And what I mean is that you have enjoyed almost half a year of calm. Let's be real. You had what I just showed you on the chart, that little like drop wherever it's at, like right here, like that was like your little moment of non-calm, and then you went right back up. You have literally had 6 to 8 months of peace. Oh, you know what there's a time for planting and harvesting and sowing and peace and war, I guess. But the point I'm trying to say is that, whether it's now till the end of summer, valuations are high enough where people need protection. Bond yields, stocks are diverging, currencies and effects with policy and how they're going to react. You know what I'm saying? They are all just sitting at a certain level there, and now if things don't change, I mean, something's going to have to happen. And that's why I'm saying, like, yo, you got to really put it into perspective. You have this groundwork of volatility. In the meantime, if what happens, though, and this is what I mean by volatile, because it could still drive you up. If there's no negative things that arise, that same volatility can give you these squeezes on not much data or action. So that being said, keep your eyes on everything. We'll see how it plays out, but I really think it's about to get interesting, and I don't mean that imminently, but I do think we're going to have a wild summer in the sense that as at the end of summer, we're either going to be getting into a lot of things, or we're going to be like, wow, that was crazy. And then not to mention, the election is going to be heating up. But that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you're ready for more. But now, let us get into the plays. So, right off the bat, I got a couple of plays. I'm not going to force anything. We've made a couple of plays on the indexes. We'll get over that when I get to the plays of the day. But the first one, NVIDIA and AMD. And, bro, literally the news once again. There's, like, Dell, and that's something after hours. Even Marvel, it wasn't that good. And, like, watch the whole AI space in general tomorrow and then coming into next week. But you once again have restriction news. So the news that came out towards the end of the day was that the U.S. government wants to limit licenses on exporting chips to Saudi Arabia because they think NVIDIA and AMD are selling it to the Saudis or selling it to the Middle East, and then they are taking it and selling it to China. You have gotten chip restriction news probably once a month for the last 6 months from the government, from the administration, all of that stuff. So, like I'm saying, it's probably going to cause a short-term drop and a short-term pop, but like sadly, I hope I'm wrong about this. I actually hope we get something meaningful. Otherwise, it's just going to be a lot of noise and short-term reactions while everybody just goes and falls in line to the golden path and following the broader trend. So we'll see how it plays out tomorrow, and then we're going to see what happens with the other AI names and then Dell, but I'll definitely keep an eye on that. But that's the first plays I'm going to be watching. That is number one. Then number two, bro, VFC. I was thinking about this one, again, on the time that I was quiet. I had 5 hours between now and the stream, and I got to be at myself, and like I wasn't talking, and I was thinking about VFC. This is Vans. They own Supreme. I think they're selling Champion. But the news, and I thought it was very interesting, the lady, if you guys remember, it was a couple of days ago, the lady from Lululemon, I believe she was the chief product officer, Suzy, that's her name. She left the company, and people in the earnings for Lulu wasn't that good, and then she left. Lulu literally dropped. People did not like that, and they thought it was a one-off thing. Well, here's the full story. She joined VFC. So at the announcement of her joining, bro, I think the stock shot up like 8 to 13. I don't know where it's at right now. Yeah, $13. But 8%. Okay, maybe I confused the two. But yeah, well, the Hall, we'll go over it after. You may, or you could go back. We kind of just talked about it. But VFC popped off of her joining the company, and like low key, I was talking about it a little bit after the bell. You could research it. You should go see what happens to companies when like new people join, but then when the reaction's like negative or positive. Excuse me. But literally, like, if it is a positive reaction, a lot of the times it has follow through. And if like people really respond well, it could be good for a couple of days, a couple of weeks. But then if it fails immediately, then this play is over. But, you know, when people join, when people leave, if you get like an initial reaction, it creates like a hope story around it, and people really start going in on that. So that being said, I would watch out for this. I think it has an interesting history. It's a deep value play. We've even talked about considering this for the long term. And then it kind of fell out of consideration, but we'll see what goes on here. But definitely, if the market likes her and it starts turning recovery story, I mean, it's one to keep on watch now, and definitely in the short term, and we'll see if it lasts or not. So that is play number 2. And then finally, are you ready? You guys gotta like the video. This last play, I don't have to put it actually. I could actually just skip this last play because it has nothing to do with tomorrow. It just, again, I'll be doing this on these live watch lists. I'll be giving you stupid, crazy ideas. I say stupid because it's like, you know, sometimes you got to think outside, but then, you know what I'm saying, in a world where a lot of people is scared to say ideas out loud, you know what I'm saying? You better like the video, dog. You know what? That's it. Hit that. I got one for you. I got a bold ass claim, bro. But I could be wrong, but I got a bold ass claim. And I love it. And listen, here, can I tell you something? Like, and I mean it, and I mean it out of love, right? And you know how I'm like hyping this up? If you think this has anything to do with Donald Trump or Biden, dog, you might be brainwashed. That's all I'm saying. That's all, you know what I'm saying? It has nothing to do with any of this shit. I get, but do you see what I'm saying? If, like, in your mind, they got you, bro. Don't fall for the identity politics. Let's open up the book and learn. You know what I'm saying? Think about it. Oh, there's nothing to do with that. Although, last time we did make this play, it was tied to global. Yes, it is a commodity. Yeah, there you go. Now let's talk, baby. Now I got a good one for you, man. I got a great one for you. And sadly, can I say this? Although I have done very well on a similar play, and although I may have brought in authority figures in this, don't overestimate what I'm saying. And what I'm saying does not mean listen. I have no shame swinging and missing at this point. If you haven't noticed, you know what I'm saying. And like when we get to the questions, I'm gonna talk about this a little more, but. Like I'm saying, I want you to think about it, but, you know, every opportunity is new. And I think I have enough wisdom to recognize that. Sometimes it'll rhyme. Sometimes things will play the same. But it's just when it's all said and done, it's like every opportunity is new. So just because we did something once, we can't do it twice. We can do it twice, but it's not going to be the exact same. So, play number 3. It's wheat. It's wheat. Because here's the deal. I'm putting it out here for now. I'm putting this out into the universe. I'm putting it out on the watch list. So and then that's, you know, this is like me posting my play in the chat. You know what I'm saying? I have no position, so you know I'm not biased. But you know I might come back to this one. But I'd watch here for now. And it's here's the thing. If it doesn't materialize in the next couple of months, then it's probably going to die for another 4 years, and it might get pinned. Why I say that, go watch the Wheat interview. Again, I interviewed the CEO of Wheat, but that's what I'm saying. Don't let that authority figure I'm not trying to sell you anything, dude. You know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to, I don't even have a position. I don't benefit. I don't lose off of this by telling you my ideas. Again, even that's why I love Sal, because he was a guy who came on to share knowledge and information. Well, it isn't a 3-year cycle. It's a 7-year cycle usually. But somewhat in the short term, you do get these 3-year spouts. And literally, Last time, '08 to Arab Spring, you had almost the exact same movement, and now wheat is coming back up. So I don't want to buy it after this move because if it doesn't work, you're going to get clapped. But what I am looking for, a sharp pullback in the next 2 months. And after the next pretty much, maybe 3 months, maybe I undershoot, maybe I overshoot. But the fact of the matter is, if in those next quarter, if that lines up with war headlines and wheat starts going above 7, you're going to probably get round 2. I don't think it's going to go any higher, or it might go a little bit higher than the last peak. So I don't know where that was last time. But again, if you go, like I'm telling you, you could go pull up the chart from the interview. It's quite fascinating. I don't even think it shows it this much. But this is what I'm saying. If this doesn't work out, bro, you're going to the gulag. Do you understand? So I don't know. The commodity chart is threatening. Because, again, if you're wrong on commodities, you position high, you pay for it. That's just the fact of the matter. If you're right, you're going to make a killing. That's just how, sadly, welcome to the game. But if this does fail at any level, I mean, you will get punished for a long, long time. But pretty much I would expect it to come back around the same level, if not a little higher, and then that's it. And then we'll go down for another couple of years. But it's doing a very similar setup. Last time you had a lot more move, but that's why I'm saying give it a couple more months. It can meander for a little bit, but if it comes in and if you do get a strong upside on wheat, there is supply issues people are talking about. You had a little bit more war escalation today, whether people want to talk about it or not. The United States allowing Ukraine to use U.S. weapons is a no-no for Russia, so it's going to lead into some other things, but I don't know if UNG will come back. Again, welcome to the commodity land. Sadly, natural gas prices are up on a utility level, but not on a commodity level like the actual thing. The service costs more than the actual fuel. But this is straight up related only to wheat and maybe corn, but I think you need oil and the other stuff to go crazy, or you need real war. That's the thing. What I'm telling you right now, it could go off of war headlines, but it doesn't necessarily need it. It just depends on supply. Remember, if wheat starts taking off again, you fall right back to the same playbook. Again, not that it's going to happen exactly the same, but because you have to go back and look at literally what is going on with the supply. Remember, we would watch the WASDE. And then it's supply demand is a big factor on this one when it's all said and done. So we will see. We are harvest. That's what I'm saying. This has a couple months. I'm just throwing this out now because we have saw it. But I am saying, like, it's definitely the way it's looking. If it does start to go crazy, I mean, this play, it will be in prime focus. If not, I mean, just get ready for another 3 years of nothing. You know what I'm saying? That's so. Unfortunately, I wish I had a better answer for you. But that being said, as far as the plays I made today, we still got a little bit more. I closed out of gold. Unfortunately, the contract expired. This was the one I grabbed a couple days ago. If you go on the next month future, and then it's funny because I was talking about this, I would be break even, but I literally have to pay for the slippage and the timing of all of that. So $500 loss. I got out of the other one with a gain last time, so not too bad. Could have been a little bit worried. Yeah, it was a call. But that was a 500 loss, and then I closed out the Russell from yesterday around the price that it's at. But that one I got 170 gain, and then I closed out a Telsa. It's actually nuts. This one was it's not Tesla, it's Telsa. I think it has some AI BS back in the day, but this was a dead biotech that I held. I think I made an average on it. I don't know, but it came back to green, so I just took my $1,000 out of it, got my money back, $20 gain, and then another dead biotech comes back. I think I had 2 of those so far in the last year, but then I still have like 4 or 5 still dead. But we will see. We will see. But that being said, what's the next thing? Oh, questions. Oh, yes. Yes. Oh, I got to get my water. So today, I only have one question. There was a lot of good ones, but I don't know. I like this question a lot. And it didn't come from the chat. It did, but homie said he had problems, and he emailed me. And I really liked it. I don't know, and I wanted to offer some of my thoughts and go over it. But when it's all said and done, I really did appreciate this question, and I think we could talk about some things. So here it is. He emailed me this. He said, Josh, I really am a noob to the market and real estate. I'm 42 years old and just now getting into all of this. I know I have a long road ahead, which is fine. I'm watching your videos, took the boot camp, sitting every day on the stream, started paper trading while learning, reading books, saving to eventually invest in a long-term, etc. My question is there anything that I am missing? I feel like I'm so behind in trying to catch up as quickly as I can, but I also don't want to drown in an overload or find out in 6 months I've been swimming in the wrong pool. So I love this question, man. I'm glad that you're here, baby. I'm glad because it's better, because I was going to just email you the video. You'd be like, what an asshole. Why didn't he just, but I got something for you, man. And honestly, everything sounds amazing. I don't know, it's kind of wild because it sounds amazing. I don't know any other way to put it, but here's my answer. And I feel truly that you only feel like you're missing out because you might be focusing on the trading more. And maybe I'm judging you. Maybe I am, but I do know deep down, all of us, we love the trading. We love the fast money. We love the allure. Even when I started, I learned the ways of the long term. It wasn't less than 2 years where I was like, wow, look at the trading and look at what you can accomplish. And quite frankly, the paradox of the market is that we see it and it attracts you because there is a lot of fast money. And you're like, wow, I can make, and you can. It's not like that is, do I think it's a pipe dream? It really depends on how you go about it. But like I'm saying here, there is a natural allure where you're like, wow, I could really, if I could make this much in this time frame and this, and then it's just pretty much the age old. We underestimate or we overestimate what we could do in 1 or 2 years, and then we underestimate what we could do in 10. So that being said, all of this and this desire for trading and the money, bro, is you could use this. It could be used against you. Or I think down the road with all of this, especially with what we do, I think you will learn to harness it. I know I'm cliche as hell, and I sound like I'm Peter Parker. You know what I'm saying? And you're Peter Parker, Spider-Man, great power, responsibility. No, but that being said, what I'm trying to say is you're not really behind. And honestly, if you are doing what you said to me in that email, it actually sounds like you're doing exactly what you should be doing, and I'm quite impressed. It's not too often that people start and they're like, wow, I'm sitting, I'm learning, I'm going through this, I'm paper trading, I'm watching and paper trading, and then I'm waiting, I'm saving. But the thing is, I don't know, maybe it's the wording, but you said it yourself, and this is what I get a lot. Where is it? Saving to eventually invest in the long term. And that right there is the thing that is killer. And that's why I'm saying you're doing everything perfectly, but this is what makes me feel as if you might be focusing on the trading, and that's not a problem. I don't know if you shouldn't trust me. Don't trust anybody on the internet. We're going to talk about that. But at the end of the day, it's like you are going to mold into the trading. It will get there, but this idea of eventually start the long term. I'm telling you, I had this whole talk today on stream. I was sharing how my mom told me once you start making money, and you say you're going to go back to school, you're not. And just quite frankly, I know there's a lot of people, bro, and I don't know if anyone's here now, or you could go in the long term, or you could go the long term. We could go in the stream tomorrow, and I'll ask, bro. I'm telling you, I know there's people 4 years ago, 5 years ago, they were in your spot. Did some make a long term and do good? Yes, that's not what I'm going to say. They were in your spot and they had the same logic. Eventually, I will do it. Eventually has not arrived yet, and it has been half a decade. Do you get what I'm saying? Half a decade. So while all the little guys out there with $200 deposits, $300 deposits, they got 30 grand now, 20 grand. and it doesn't matter any way you cut. Literally, they got money now. And if they started with a little amount and that got them there in half a decade, what do you think the next decade is going to do? So, like, I'm telling you, and that's kind of the beauty. The trading is going to come, and it will, and like that's the beauty of it. I'm always down to help, and we're going to talk about that. But like this, right? You need to start it now, and do not go against this. And here's the deal: the encouragement is you are not behind. And like I'm saying, everything sounds like you're doing good, bro. Like, for real, you tell me you want to learn to trade and you are giving it discipline to the point you are actually practicing and using paper trading, and watch, you'll see over the hours we spend on the stream and the info, there's crazy days, and you'll see how we could use it for trading, and some people do. And it's like, you're going to, like, trust me, the practice is gonna do very, very well for you, but there's no eventually. My whole thing is all of it at the same time. You see, I'm not telling you not to trade, but I'm definitely telling you not to wait. We could do all of it all at once. You could grow, you could build into it, and you could go a long way. And that is the bit. So that's the phrase that I'm hung up on. You know what I'm saying? But like I still got more, man. Okay? And like that being said, I am impressed with it, and I love what you said about I don't want to be swimming in the wrong pool 6 months later, because for real, that's a big thing. You don't want to waste time, and nothing worse is that. And honestly, I've lost people. I don't think you understand. Dude, I don't care about the followers. I don't care about the selling shit, dog. But like, sadly, bro, I've lost people. And what I mean by that is, dude, sometimes that wrong pool is Kool-Aid, with a lot of Kool-Aid. And, you know, again, if you learn the wrong habits from the get-go, I might never see you again. You might just go down the rabbit hole. That's just how it is. Again, trading, bro, it's a wicked world. And I don't mean that in the, like, sadly, I don't mean that. I'm not trying to claim I'm better than anybody. And this is what I want you to realize when it's all said and done. You don't want to go along the wrong road. It's usually going to offer you something for money. And it's very simple. Anybody with real success, and I'm not the only one. I'm not saying as if, look at me. I'm not trying to eliminate the competition and throw them in jail, to hype me up too, man. It's just simple. I've been bestowed upon knowledge from people like this. Anybody with real knowledge and success, they will tell you anything you want for free. The biggest waste of time and money is the Phoenicians, is the glass sellers. If you and you ask for a book, you should read Richest Man in Babylon. But, like, that's all it is. And, again, I'm not the only one. That's where some of y'all need I will humble myself, but you also need to, too. There's good information out there. Again, I could show you books. You could learn a lot of things. Go watch. Go look up to people. Go look up to guys, billionaires. You know how many interviews you'll find and information, and you could go down into it. But the only way you're going to get led down the wrong path is, like, straight up is somebody selling you on it, and then it's all based on this, eventually I'll do this, but now I want this fast, and they're like, yeah, you could get it, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, hey, I offer the free slow road. I think you could stick around and you'll get some stuff and you'll learn. I'm not the best trader when it's all said and done, but I definitely am good enough. Like, I don't, you only got to be better than a couple of people. Welcome to the stock market, man. But that being said, too, in the same respect, if I can acknowledge that I'm not the best trader, dude, I fucking kill it on the long term in real estate, and that is my bread and butter. But it's not as it's something I'm trying to keep out and that's why I love your email, because you are on the right approach. You're thinking about all of it. You said real estate, my age, you know what I'm saying? You're talking options, and we're talking long terms. Only bad part was long term was that eventual. But dude, that's how you're gonna tie all of this in. You have time, and we have a lot of time to put the work. You're not that behind, and that's why I'm saying, like, one thing after the next, it's going to lead you into where you need to be, and maybe at the right time, bro, you'll see it. And that we've been there. Our only problem would be going after the things that aren't as big, because there will be a time and place that trading is going to line up with the right event and with the right preparation, and you have the right money saved up, and you're going to get that opportunity, as some Chads have witnessed over the last few years. But in the meantime, It's all of it. It's the full picture. And that's why I'm saying I'm not trying to sell you one part of it or sell you anything. But if you can encompass all of this and think long-term, trading and real estate, and don't let one sacrifice the other or hurt the other, you have enough time, bro, to really run up a bag before you even qualify for a reverse mortgage. And that's it. I'll be honest with you. Do I think you're old if you qualify for a reverse mortgage? Kinda, but you still got some time still. But like until you qualify for that reverse mortgage, dog, you good. You good. You know what I'm saying? So for real, man, I think over time you'll pick up on things from the stream. Keep the paper trading up, and after enough practice, let it prove itself on the paper trade, and watch. You'll see the days we hit news plays. You'll see how we interpret stuff. You'll find out about both the good plays, the bad plays. Even then, in a weird way, let me do my thing. You'll even learn from my success and failure. But at the same time, no matter what has happened on the trading, that long term is working for us, and you need it. And I had a whole rant today in the real estate, bro. There's all these aspects. We are trying to build wealth, and that is really what it's going to come down to. So I hope you could use me as John Stockton, but I could only pass the ball, bro. You know what I'm saying? You know, I'm excited for you, but I think whatever happens will happen, and you know, no matter what, don't trip. I want to tell you that, like, you know, let the path come to you naturally. Don't put a lot of pressure, but then at the same time, like, just no BS. Like, just don't let them fuck you out of your money. Excuse my language. And don't be in a rush to get it where it ends up hurting you more than, because it doesn't have to be. And like I don't offer I offer a very slow approach. It's very bogged down with a lot of info. If you know what I'm saying, like that's it, bro. A little, you know, like if you got that instant gratification and you can't control it, like you're gonna hate me, like you're gonna absolutely despise me. But that's what I'm saying. Like if you really want a real plan and you're down to go for it, man, I think little by little, you know, you sit in the barber shop long enough, you're gonna get a haircut, and that kind of is the best approach, I think, when it's really all said and done. And don't be afraid to look around the world and see the good resources, but nobody has to sell it to you, and it doesn't have to be in this. It's not, if it comes as everything you want with a price tag, like this is America. You know what I'm saying? So, that being said, that was the only question of the day. I knew I was going to spend a long time on it, but I really appreciated it, man, and I hope you do too. And I hope we see you for the long term and just kill eventually. Do it now, and like you, I don't think you'll regret it, man. I really, really don't. But hey, we'll see what happens, man. We'll see what happens. Amen, man. The long term, it's weird. You don't notice the long term till it's too late. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just the sad reality of it. And like I said, I learned it young. You know what by the time, and you know, I guess God is good. I was on the internet by the time y'all even encountered me, bro. I just had a lot of time under my belt. I went through it too many times. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've been, and I saw the little stuff and how one thing could even change your life sometimes. So when it's all said and done, man, just sometimes it is too late when we realize how important it is. So if you can understand this now, it'll take you a long way. It'll take you a long way. Oh, man. So, that being said, do you have any questions before we get into the economic lesson? I got a good one today. We're going to talk about trade bargaining. So, somebody might need to tag it when we start, but I got a little time for Q&A, unless you guys want to do the lesson and then go to Q&A. But you tell me. You tell me. The Cybertruck, I think it gets wrapped on Sunday. Powell speaks. He might have a presser soon, but otherwise, I think like June 12th or 17th. God bless the cult, baby. Dell earnings, typical, more hype than the results, but it's not like the results were bad. Just one, like, again, LeBron won 5 rings instead of 10 or 6. You know what I'm saying? It just, I'm telling you, the effery with expectations is back. We did this like a year or two ago, and I think it's the same exact thing. That's all, like low liquidity and expectations are running rampant. That's it. And I say 70% of your stock moves are off of, for a world that does not believe in God and shit. You know what I'm saying? Very, very, they looking for a future glory of expectation. Like Paul would be proud when it's all said and done. So, yeah. Technical and fundamental. I'd say more fundamental. I think momentum and price action. And then technical is very basic. All right, man. Well, I think we'll save it for after the lesson then. That was your chance, baby. We'll talk a little bit afterwards. So today we're going to have more charts, and I'll be able to go through them with you in real time. But, oh, excuse me. Like I need a sip of water, bro. Sip of water. All right. Yeah, bro. Glasses are a lifesaver. It helps with posture. Because now I can just, like, kick back and I'm not like, what does that say? How you say? But trade bargaining. Here it is. Although trade liberalization raises the standard of living, governments often liberalize trade unilaterally. Instead, governments strive to open foreign markets to the exports of competitive domestic industries and continue to protect less competitive industries from imports. As a result, trade liberalization generally occurs through trade bargaining, in which governments exchange market access commitments. We can model trade bargaining using basic spatial theory. To keep things concrete, we will model the central bank bargaining or the central bargaining problem in the Doha round. We begin by defining the bargaining space. The two issues at the center of the Doha round are the reduction of barriers to trade in agriculture products that the government in the advanced industrialized countries impose, and the reduction of barriers to trade in manufactured goods, called non-agriculture market access, NAMA, in the Doha round. The governments in developing countries impose. We can depict each of these as policy dimension 3.4. So I have that one. We're going to go back to it again. And anytime I interrupt its opinion, here is the supported figure. We're going to go over. It gets a little confusing here, but like I tried, this is for a learning technique. I like charts, and it's good sometimes, and you might like, is that the Jesus fish? Amen, amen. But I'm sorry. But the point is, try to understand it as much as you can in writing. Ideally, if you could understand it in words, I like that before you get to the chart, because then it should kind of flow naturally, all right? So keep that in mind. So I'm going to get back to that figure there. So we could depict each traded policy dimension in figure 3.4. The horizontal axis depicts all possible levels of agriculture protection in advanced industrialized economies. Protection of agriculture is 0 at the origin, and barriers to trade arise as we move towards the right. The vertical axis captures all possible levels of protection of manufactured goods in developing countries. Again, protection is 0 at the origin and increases as we move up from the origin. Each point within the two-dimensional bargaining space represents a combination of trade barriers in industrialized countries and developing country manufactured goods. So I want to keep going, but just so you don't get too lost with it. So where is this? Status quo? Which one are we talking about? Tariffs? Yeah, it's all the same, low key. So I think they're starting with the first one, but here's your vertical. That's more protectionism, and then again, agriculture, and then this is manufactured, and then the developed countries. So developing on the top, agriculture markets, the other ones on the x-axis. So we can locate the current level of protection, the status quo, in this bargaining space. The status quo is characterized by a fairly high level of protection in both sectors. The United States, the EU, and Japan exclude agriculture from multilateral trade negotiations until quite recently. Consequently, trade barriers in this sector remain quite high. Similarly, developing countries did not participate much in the bargaining rounds prior to the Uruguay round. As a result, they retain high tariffs on manufactured goods. Hence, the status quo labeled SQ in Figure 3.4a falls on the northeast quadrant of the bargaining space. So 3.4a, we're at the bottom. No, the top. So again, what could be the main point you could take away from this without the chart? I think it is very important. Very simple. As up until recently, we did not include a lot of these agriculture producers into negotiations. And that's where you're that's why it's staying status quo is more leaned up to protectionist rather than easing. Ta-da! So, in our next step, we locate government ideal points in the bargaining space. An actor's ideal point is the best possible outcome. In this instance, the specific combination of barriers to trade in agriculture and manufactured goods that each actor prefers to all other combinations. Rather than depict ideal points for each of the 164 WTO members, we focus on two coalitions, the center of bargaining, the United States, EU, and the Group of 20, and we locate these ideal points using a simple rule. Governments liberalize comparatively advantaged sectors and protect disadvantaged sectors. So, what does that mean? This is what we talked about yesterday. How you were going to lean more towards the goods that you could produce with an advantage versus the ones that you could do with scarcity. So again, it's going to lean towards liberalizing what you're good at and protecting what you're bad at to a degree if you can't even make the trade. So, the United States, EU, is relatively poorly endowed with land and relatively abundant endowed with capital. The ideal outcome from their perspective is sharp reduction of tariffs on G20 goods market and continued protection of their agriculture sector. Their ideal point, therefore, lies in the southeast quadrant of the bargaining space. Governments of the G20 are abundantly endowed with land and poorly endowed with capital. The ideal outcome for these governments combines low barriers on agriculture markets in the EU and the US with high barriers on their goods market. The ideal point for the Group of 20 thus lies in the northwest quadrant of the bargaining space. So again, I think that's this chart right here. So status quo, joint gains, I think, or no, I think we might be on this one. Which figure? I think it'll give it didn't say 3A or 3B, but I think it's the second one. We'll get to that. Notice that given that these ideal points in the status quo, neither group can improve its utility relative to the status quo from unilateral liberalization. Assume that utility for each sector is a linear function of distance. That is, utility decreases as we move away from the ideal points in any direction. Unilateral reduction of protectionist barriers in the U.S. and EU agriculture shifts the outcome from SQ towards the left along the line parallel to the horizontal axis. To the where unilateral reduction, I just lost it. Similarly, any unilateral reduction on tariffs for manufactured goods to the SQ down along a line parallel to the vertical axis not drawn. Every point on this line is further from the G20 ideal point. Hence, neither group can realize higher utility by engaging in unilateral liberalization. So, point is, you can't just liberalize one thing. So that is kind of again, that's why I'm saying the charts are going to get a little bit tricky here. But at the end of the day, it's saying like you can't go only in one direction. So if you liberalize in one area, you're going to have a little bit of protection in the other and then vice versa. And then again, just like with what we learned yesterday, after certain points with trade and same thing, certain points with bargaining, there is a limit where you gain more or you get less. So again, at some point, like I guess a good example, let's say we were already tightening the shit out of China and hitting them with tariffs, right? At some degree, if we wanted to hit them with more tariffs in just one way, and then again, and assuming we're not liberalizing anywhere else, it's going to lead to less positive effects. The first tariffs on China are going to have a bigger effect than the second or the third. Same thing could be said for sanctions, and I hope I don't know, my opinion on this, can you guys realize a trend here? These ways of modeling, it appears in everything. I could talk about tariffs, trade, or trade bargaining. Are you getting what I'm saying? It's the same trade-offs. The laws of diminishing returns. Again, where you are finding your indifference curves. Like, you could apply an indifference curve to anything. Again, people have feelings, and the crazy part is that, the only economic aspect I think you guys are missing, because we are focusing on the politics, is that you're missing the rational theory and understanding economics and rational beings. I hope you all understand that, but I'll see if I can find you a lesson on it. Otherwise, I do suggest that you do look into that yourself. So continuing, what neither is willing to do unilaterally, both are willing to do in international bargaining. To see why, we must first identify all outcomes that each group prefers to the status quo. We could see these outcomes by drawing circular indifference curves, centered upon each group's ideal point, with a radius equal to the distance between the ideal point of the status quo. So that's figure 3.b. Each group prefers all outcome interior to this indifference curve to the status quo. The combination within the lens created by the intersection of the two indifference curves are thus outcomes that the G20 and the US and EU prefer to the status quo. And in the vast majority of these outcomes, each group has liberalized the sector that it wishes to protect quite substantially. International bargaining, therefore, enables governments to liberalize domestic sectors that are unwilling to liberalize unilaterally. So this one, it's talking about this curve now. Again, status quo, this is where everybody benefits. Again, the problem is everybody has to liberalize. Again, it just said heavy protectionist, you're going to have to liberalize what you wanted to protect. However, if you guys if you don't see where this is going, this chart is building into this. It's just breaking it down one step at a time till you get the full reality. And again, that's where you're going to, this is just two indifference curves, and then you're going to get like 10 of them. You see what I'm saying? So that could help you understand the graphic a little bit better. So the status quo, and the vast majority of these outcomes, each group has liberalized the sector they wish to protect. International bargaining, therefore, enables governments to liberalize domestic sectors that they are unwilling to liberalize unilaterally. The selection of one outcome from all of these that offer joint gains carries distributional consequences. So I'll go into that, but do you guys get it? There's another point you need to get, and make sure you don't miss this. The point is, without a bargain, without somebody willing to work with you, nobody's going to liberalize the shit they don't want to liberalize unless you do it too. It's like mutual disarmament, mutual armament. You know what I'm saying? That's where it's kind of saying nobody is going to, pretty much without trade bargaining, everybody would be very, very nationalist. Essentially, let me ask you that. What model would that fall into? I wouldn't say this strictly, but you could kind of think a little bit. Mercantilism. But you're going to say this is what, you're kind of focusing on protectionists, and then again, not focusing on the comparative advantages and all of that. Again, that's why the word liberalism keeps coming up. Mercantilism, liberalism, then fascism. So, the selection of one outcome from all those that offer joint gains carries distributional consequences. Some agreements benefit the United States and EU more than the G20, and some agreements benefit the G20 more than the United States and EU. We could see this by drawing a series of indifference curves for each group, figure 3-4. So you guys understand, it's 1, 2, 3. It's showing you the build out till it gets quite complicated. We then connect all the points at which the United States and EU and group of 20 indifference curves are tangent to one another. The result is a contract curve, the set of mutually beneficial agreements that exhaust available joint gains. We assume that governments will select an agreement from that set. Now, each agreement on this contract curve carries a different distribution of the joint gains. If the group of G20 and the EU select the outcome represented by M, they divide available joint gains evenly. If they select an outcome between M and E, the EU and US realize larger gains than G20. If they instead choose an outcome between M and G, the group of 20 realizes larger gains. Here, I'll see if I can get it up. So again, this is what it's saying right here. Again, this is a contract curve now. So these are your indifference curves when we're talking about bargaining now, and you have 10 of them, because again, and you can map pretty much, if it's saying, hey, you do this, I do that, it is kind of contractual. I think I'm not saying that's literal, but the word does speak to you a little bit if you want to kind of remember it. But so I guess we could start back from here. So where did he say? If G20 select represented by M right here, then they're dividing the gains equally. So boom, right there, smack dab in the middle. We're losing as much as we're gaining, and we're gaining as much as we're losing, right? So then if they select an outcome between M and E, right here, the US and EU get larger gains while the other ones lose, and then anything. No, I think that should be M and G. So between M and E, the US realizes larger gains. No, I guess so. That's kind of wild. And then M and G, the group of 20. Oh, wait, no, I'm tripping. Yeah, because group of 20 is here. I confused it. No, it's my fault. No, that makes a lot of sense. I thought US was up here. So, yeah, they get more. You could kind of see where it's at. And if they go here, you're opting for a deal where you liberalize more than the other guy liberalizes. They end up winning. So, again, explaining it, the chart looks crazy, but after all of this in words, it should make a little bit more sense. Hence, governments are not just realizing joint gains, they're also deciding how to distribute the gains between them. My brother, this is going to be one of the most important things you will learn in concept and theory. Why? Because I don't know if he'll talk about it as we move forward, but this is going to start bringing up some of the base logic of winners and losers and who decides. Again, splitting up benefits is like, it's huge. Who bears the cost? Who doesn't? This will come up in like chapter 13 though, I believe. Chapter 13 or 16. So we got a long way to go. But bargaining power determines which distribution of gains governments ultimately select. Although we think of power as brute force, bargaining power derives from an array of much subtler characteristics such as patience and outside options. Patience refers to the fact that both parties to the negotiation would prefer to settle today rather than tomorrow. Because each side gains from agreement, delaying agreement sacrifices utility for both. But if one government is more patient than another, it could use its willingness to wait to insist on an outcome closer to its ideal point and thereby capture more of the joint gains for itself. A government may be less patient and thus willing to concede some of the surplus to other governments in exchange for a quick deal. If it's relatively poor, since economic gains have greater margin utility for poorer states, or if it has a lower tolerance for risking a breakdown in negotiations. So literally, patience, bro. You could apply this to any negotiation. You want it now? You want to do it today? You let me benefit more. You want top dollar? Go list it. How many times have you heard me say that? Ta-da! If governments are equally patient, one government may gain bargaining power if it has an attractive outside option. An outside option is a government's next best alternative to agreement. For example, if the EU can strike a similar bargain with the US, then it has little need to make a deal of concessions to the G20. It could leverage its potential deal with the US to extract concessions from the G20. If the G20 knows this, it will be willing to allow the EU to capture a larger share of the gains than it would have of the outside option of a deal with the US if that did not exist. Somewhat paradoxically, therefore, giving one side a good reason to not reach agreement often enables governments to find common ground. The U.S. strategy of negotiating regional trade agreements, for example, might be an attempt to demonstrate an outside option in order to gain greater power within WTO negotiations. So, can I tell you something? Apply what you just heard. Apply what you just heard to AI in chip negotiations, or limits. Are we talking, it is protectionism, but think about that and think about some things going on. In short, governments liberalize trade via trade agreements because they're unwilling to liberalize unilaterally. Given their focus on export expansion, trade negotiations enable governments to exchange market access commitments. Although the resulting trade agreements yield benefits to all parties, they also carry distributional consequences. Some governments will realize smaller gains in market access opportunities in exchange for larger concessions of their own. These distributional consequences reflect differences in bargaining power. Governments that are most willing to wait, that are willing to risk breaking down negotiations and have outside options, are likely to capture a larger share of the available gains from agreement. That might apply to your real life as well. Oh, wait, is that it? Yeah, that's it. That's the end of the chat. I have another one I have a special pop quiz lesson for you, but I mean, let me get to this one. Here's the deal. You kind of learn the basics. You know, I think a lot of this lesson is common sense. And even then, like if you've ever heard me talk about real estate, I really do think That you know what I'm saying? Like I think you understand outside options and patience, and literally getting you gains and not, but like all this is telling, like literally this, as complex as it seemed in all the words, it's very simple. It's saying, hey, this is where countries are without trade. If they don't trade, they don't do this and that. This is where they gain in some industries, they don't in others, right? But then that's why if we trade and make things, there's a point where we all benefit and everybody could benefit off of trade, and then they're bargaining, and that's how they benefit and what they lose, what they liberalize, what they don't. That's your like cost and benefits. And then there's multiple different agreements you could come to, and depending on how much patience or other options available, countries are willing to take more or less to go about these deals. That's it. That I could have made this 5 minutes if I wanted to, but I do think it is helpful to, like, again, this is how you get taught it, but I do hope you could kind of apply it practically and just get a grasp of it. And like I'm saying, some of this stuff, it is going to come at a later time. And you're going to see, this is why I'm told you, we're really building the foundation, because this may seem basic for now, but as you get in, you're going to be building off of these concepts. Again, the patience, outside options, bargaining, and that's why I said rationality. It's like it's all going to link to everything, but like 1,000. This is why economics gets confusing, because you're going to link it 1,000 times over. So that is the first one, but now let me give you a fun one, because this one came up today because there was talks about forced labor in China. So this one is about the Uyghur population and forced labor. This is actually a policy debate. Would you guys like to have a policy debate? It's analysis and debate. The United States response to China's repression of its Uyghur minority. Question: should the United States ban goods from China produced by forced labor? So, overview. The Chinese government has been accused of human rights violations against the Uyghur, a mostly Muslim, Turkic-speaking ethnic group living in the northwestern region of the country. The region is known as Xinjiang, Uyghur Autonomous Region, and has been claimed by China since the Chinese Communist Party took power in 1949. The Chinese government is concerned that Uyghurs hold extremist and separatist ideologies and has for decades imposed intense surveillance and security measures in the region. Beginning in 2014, the government initiated re-education, quote-unquote, efforts in the region. Since 2017, some 8 million to 2 million, wait, what? No, 8 million to 2 million, they don't even know, Chinese Uyghurs have been detained by the Chinese government in re-education camps. It's just awful. Chinese officials refer to these camps as vocational training centers, deny that they infringe on the Uyghur human rights, and state that it is occurring in the region. It's an internal matter. Information about what actually happens inside the camps is limited. The Chinese government does not allow journalists or foreign investigators access, but previous detainees who have fled China describe harsh prison-like conditions where they are constantly monitored, subject to violence, including rape, and prevented from exercising cultural and religious practices. In addition, detainees are forced to work in factories close to the detention camps. It is suspected that forced labor is used to harvest and process cotton grown in the region, which accounts for 20% of the world's supply, and is incorporated into apparel and other goods manufactured in China and other countries. There is an increasing momentum in the international community to characterize China's treatment of the Uyghurs as genocide. The United States has responded with diplomatic and economic measures, imposing visa restrictions on Chinese officials and announcing a diplomatic boycott of the Beijing Winter Olympics. Athletes will still participate, but officials will not attend. On the economic front, the United States has blacklisted companies linked to the abuse in camps, including the world's largest commercial drone manufacturer, DJI, which has been accused of providing surveillance drones to authorities who operate the detention camps. In December 21, the President Biden signed into law the Uyghur Forced Labor Prevention Act, the Act, although previously existing legal authority permits customs to ban goods suspected of being produced with forced labor. The act modifies existing law by banning all imports from Xinjiang unless companies can prove with clear and convincing evidence that the products were not made with forced labor. So, policy options. The U.S. should respect Chinese sovereignty regarding the treatment of internal groups and decline to impose diplomatic or economic sanctions. The United States should use diplomatic and other soft power strategies to encourage human rights around the globe. The United States should be more aggressive in supporting human rights by banning goods made with forced labor, and the Uyghur Forced Labor Prevention Act is a good way to implement such an approach. Policy analysis. Should the United States impose the responsibility on companies to ensure compliance with human rights, or is it something that government should undertake? How disadvantaged are American producers by unfair trade practices? Take a position. Which option do you prefer? Justify your choice. What criticisms of your position should you anticipate? How would you defend your recommendation against these criticisms? For more information, visit the United Nations Office of High Commissions for Human Rights, www.ohchr.org. Report forthcoming in the United States Department, State Government for more information on China's abuses of Uyghurs. We definitely should, but Sleepy Joe won't. I mean, whether you believe it or not, he already did. So now, if you want to criticize what Joe Biden did, you should go look up what they mean by clear and convincing evidence. Just like sending oil to India is no longer Russian oil, even if it was made in Russia. But they did. Joe Biden did sign this bill. So that's why it actually is a strong approach. It's not a slap on the wrist. You had to go, technically, him signing a bill is more of a bigger step than diplomatic sending somebody there. So that is the thing. But again, pick your position and anticipate the counter. I just gave you a little bit of a counter there. That was a real life little work on this little example. But Chad, that's it, man. That's it, bro. That's all we have. You got your lesson. You got a little, if you want to get in the policy debate, I got that for you. Is there any more? Is there any more questions you have? We've been here for an hour, dude. Holla at your boy, baby. Doesn't that make things more expensive for everyone while they basically keep doing the same? If that is what is actually happening, yes. But unfortunately, this is why I like this shit, bro. And I can't wait till we get into more history. But like, dude, politics and like blowing up tremendous amounts of money for nothing. Oh, dude, it's a staple. So yeah, if again, but you have to, I'm not assuming that the Biden thing didn't work or not. Literally, that's up to you. And like, that's what I'm saying. I hope none of us ever get to that point. Again, this is why you have to learn this stuff, because you got to be able to look and back it up and get your evidence and defend it and go through. But when it's all said and done, it's like, this is where we've got to this position over the years. Again, our policies on like sanctions with Cuba and how that worked, how we used agriculture in Brazil, and a lot of, dude, again, we've wasted a lot of money to meet policy that in the end wasn't, policy does not always mean productivity. And that's what I'm trying to say in a long-winded way. But yeah. So think about it, though. Wouldn't it drastically change China's production function? If there was a real hard limit by the world against it, yes. But then in that same consequence, I mean, you could probably draw this on the contract curve that we just went over, but in the same respect, you can't ban, you can do it, but what's going to happen if you restrict 20% of the world's cotton? You know what I'm saying? It's just 20% of the world's cotton. And then again now, think about it. Yeah, look at their bargaining power. So what's going to happen if you restrict 20% of the world's cotton? What's the reality? Dude, the reality, and again, it's sad that you have to live through it, but you have it right in front of you. What happens? Let's say America, EU, Mexico, Canada, the G20 says, nah, we ain't down with it. What happens? You're banning China. Not to mention, if you did that, it would be a slap in the face to them. Not inflation. No. Think bargaining power. Think the lesson we just went over. What does that mean? So you're right, it goes to India. It's going to literally go to Russia. Anything right now in this environment, I could say with utmost certainty, if you ban if the U.S. in the West bans anything for any reason, it's going to China, and if China is the one that gets banned, it's going to Russia, and then Iran, and then all of your BRIC people. Maybe not Brazil, but even then, Brazil's ready to stop effing with us. But what is that called? That is, my friend, alternative options. So again, you pull up that curve that we just went over, they have an alternative option. Do they have patience? I don't. And again, who has more patience? It's funny because what affects your patience here in the United States? Elections, inflation, that could change your patience. Honestly, we're talking political pandering plays. That just, there's probably less patience to do things now. But they have, for bargaining power, you could try to take a hardline stance and get all of your allies to say, no, we don't stand for you guys literally committing genocide on Muslims. That's I don't know if I'm going to get banned for that. They used to ban you. LeBron got mad at you if you stop it. But do you see what I'm saying? Like, if you do that, I mean, sadly, the reality is it changes their bargaining power, and they have an alternative option to sell and do other things. Not to mention all these other countries in a certain positions. Some are more patient than not, and they can or they can't do it. Ta-da! So, good discussion. I like it, baby. Any other questions? Lesson, policy, bargaining? What do you got, baby? What do you got, man? Anything? Oh, man, I need a water, bro. Oh, I'm hungry. I didn't order food, dude. Unless my girl is going to make me food. She made me lunch, bro. It was fire. What did she made me? Fucking fried rice. And then like this chicken, bro. Oh, dude, it was crazy. I do need to hydrate. This book is International Political Economy by Thomas Oatley. You could get old versions. You could buy it online, get an ebook. You could get the textbook itself. You should. I studied this book in college, and then I'm so glad that they updated it. And I love the author. I do think he's pretty unbiased, and I'm glad that it covers Biden and Trump, and it covers everything that's happened here since the pandemic. But again, I mean, just something about a balanced view of history and the back and forth is it's very, very good. A Cubana torta. Oh, I think I'm gonna get me one. I got some. I'm not gonna lie, it's some hoe shit. It's some healthy. It's a healthy Cuban. I mean, I gotta text my girl though. I gotta see if we got food or not. Already 7, not bad. Not bad. What else we got though? Pretty expensive. Yeah, it's a textbook. It's a college textbook. Portillos? I think I've had Portillos or Portillos. You got the lie, baby. What's going on? How do sanctions tie into the bargaining or the restriction of others' bargaining? So it depends on what it's going after and then the other person's country, right? Or that industry. So like one part, that's why they brought up like unilateral liberalization or not. But what really matters is it depends what you're exactly sanctioning, because then that will change the benefits and what you sacrifice and not. And then again, back to, does it cause a tit for tat? And then low key, it'll just probably keep you at status quo. So if I go and protect my industry, and then you protect another one, and you do it tit for tat in the same way, we're probably going to end up at a status quo, unless that shifts the bargaining power of the whole situation. No, then from the second job, baby, good work, man. Good work. Yeah, I'm getting a Cuban, bro. I'm getting me my Cuban. What was the basis for Trump's China trade war in 2018-2019? Protectionism. I think quite simply. He wanted, what? Did they get rid of it? No. That's stupid. Hold on, bro. I think they got rid of my sandwich. Oh, no, they got it. Oh, that was scary, bro. I'm sorry. I could be really focused sometimes, but the Lord blessed me with special abilities of ADD. But yeah, I think I'm assuming Trump's idea was protectionism, because again, you did have like a lot of steel dumping in China, and I mean, let's just be real. Prior to 2018, China was booming, and there was some, like, China was pretty unfair with a lot of things. And why do I say unfair? I'm not saying unfair like I go to college and I cry about everything, but more so like it was an actual like trade disadvantage on some of the stuff that they were doing. Again, like, bro, it used to be really cheap for materials. Like, again, even that's why, like, it did shock some people. You go see, I think I have the video, that $4 million house my homie was building back in the day. Isn't that funny? That video, that was a $4 million house back then. That house is probably like $15 million right now. Maybe 12 million. But it's actually, okay, maybe eight at least. But that was a good view. But I remember my homie, that was like during the whole tariff rise and all of it, but it brought materials up because at one point, bro, like commodities were artificially low. And then again, China and their control, like China was just trying to accomplish the unholy trinity. And part of it was they were kind of allowed to run amok in the international community. But why? Because they had the bargaining power. China was a beast, bro. When China is on its game, bro, they have power. And I firmly believe it, like to the degree where, like, think about it, bro. When China is pumping, building fake cities, all of their people are rich, dude, they are throwing around trade like nothing. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't, like, think about it, bro. They had an aura. They were pulling in all the other countries. You didn't want to F with this, dude. They were fun. Man, bro, why the F is China in Africa? Stop it. Like, you know what I'm saying? China in the Middle East, bro, their influence. And they were there, bro. Like, they really, it was beyond Riz, bro. They were like the world sugar daddy. I don't know how any other way to explain it, because that's really what it was, bro. Like, for real. Like, again, I know a lot of people who made fortunes, absolute fortunes from the China trade and how it worked, bro. And like I'm saying, like, oh, you like, oh, America is not hooking you up. Like, yo, like, what? Come here. I got you here. Like, here's a 20 billion trade deal. Go ahead. It's nothing. They're worse than Drake, bro. Like, Drake buying girls Birkins, even if they're like, not the age and shit and being weird, but like, oh no, dude, like China was like really, again, like to the point you let them get away with genocide for a solid, I don't know, 40 years, 50 years more. Like, let's be, again, we're having the whole Uyghur debate. And the funny part is, bro, LeBron got in trouble. That's why, like, some people get mad when I make my LeBron jokes sometimes. Somebody got really mad at lending tips once, but, like, sadly, I do think he's justified, Lending Tips is, in his criticism of the basketball player. Because literally, bro, like, dude, at one point, do you not realize, like, and this is what I'm saying, like, China's, I guess, is it bad if we call it sugar daddy? I don't know, but their power that they played, and it wasn't, and let me be clear, it's not like China and Donald Trump stopped it. It was a mix of both tariffs, but then it was all the 2020 BS, and then just the chickens coming home to roost, and then homie clamping down on nationalism that caused, like, not nationalism, socialism, nationalism, power, just absolute, just crackdown, you know what I'm saying? That's what started to, like, bring them down. But, like, you got to think about it, bro. The NBA was terrified. You let, literally, that's why I'm saying, like, sadly, I mean, you know, everybody want to be a damn activist, but, like, why the F did you let them get away with putting Muslims in concentration camps for 50 years? It's not anything, like, sad, dude, and if you said anything about it, even, like, athletes, if they try to bring attention, they would get clapped. Again, let me tell you, do you guys know who Enes Kanter is? Oh, come on. Look, I don't even think I could Google it, bro. Yeah. Yeah, bro. Enes, you should go look up Enes Kanter and how he did it. He may not be the best player, you know what I'm saying? But, like, I highly respect the dude because he got fucked for speaking out about it. And, like, that he was literally, like, a basketball player. And he's like, and he was just, and even then, LeBron was like, he's definitely not someone I will give my energy to. Like,
Enes Kanter has come into the game for the Boston Celtics. Kanter making a lot of headlines.
Look, he wrote something on his shoes,
including his footwear. With more on that, let's check in with Cassidy.
Yeah, Mike, Enes Kanter has spoken out on
they won't even show it
views in China for quite some time and has been critical of NBA league partner.
Yeah, bro, but, like, he goes on it. Like, he went on about it. He, like, violated the NBA, saying, because NBA was getting mad. Like, imagine, bro. Like, and I say imagine because you got to think about it. There's nothing wrong with speaking out and, like, low key, you know, like, bro, think about it. Whether you like it or not, bro, like, it doesn't, like, dude, like, if a basketball player, yeah, stick to basketball. That's what people said. But they said that about Black Lives Matter. You see what I'm saying? It's the same, like, dude, if you wear a Black Lives Matter patch, nobody got mad. You supported it. But now, homie says China, Uyghur lives matter. You know what I'm saying? That's the equivalent. The NBA said, we're taking you down. We're fining you. You can't play. Like, you see what I'm saying? And that should explain the power element of what it was. Like, you couldn't, like, yeah, they told him shut up and dribble. So, like I'm saying, I'm not talking about BLM. I'm talking about the Uyghurs. And that's why it's like, dude, it was such a big issue, but it really is elements to see how powerful China really was up until they got clapped recently. Like, that's, you got to, they don't own it as much anymore. That's, like, the funny part. You got to think about it. China's crackdown, bro, they lost power. That's it. They're not bringing in the capital. They're not bringing in the money. Their citizens are struggling now. It's, you know what I'm saying? It's still a giant market, and we need them, and it's still one of the largest economies. Don't think I'm taking it out, you know what I'm saying? But it's definitely not the same power and leverage. That's the word, exactly. It's not what they had a couple of years ago. Because a couple of years ago, bro, it was power, dude. China weight was heavy, bro. And that's why, like, we did have to do something about it. But that's why, too, it's like, it started with Trump, but you could criticize Biden or not, but, like, homie kept it. And, like, Biden and Trump policies on China are the same, whether you like it or not. Whether you called Trump racist for it, I don't care. Like, it doesn't matter. The point is, it's like, we started it, and we started the clampdown, and it's still there. Do I think there's still a little bit of, relations and crony capitalist and money influence from China? Obviously, yes, but it's definitely it's changed the global landscape. So, yeah, it's a fascinating topic. If you're interested in all of it, but yeah, man, yalla. All right, man. What do you think it would take for China to get the same power back? Economic boom, sadly, or economic maybe the BRICS. I don't believe the BRICS is going to happen anytime soon. I think it's a fucking pyramid scheme, as weird as that may sound. But it would take an economic boom or really good trade alliances and other things to like help them in that element. Maybe AI and robots, or if the world shifts to communism, maybe fascism would end up helping them out. Again, like concentrated power and doing again, literally. I mean, I'm not saying that as like a nut job, but like actually as like just that would make sense of how they would benefit because they are, that's why they sacrifice to protect that mission. You missed the plays. You got to give me $1. I'm kidding, man. You might want to go back and watch the explanation on wheat. Otherwise, VFC, big change. CO, and then AI just after the Dell and everything, and then the China chip news, China and Middle East chip news. We want to see if it has any follow-through and could actually change. The market halt, we don't know. It was an issue with quotes. Like I'm saying up here, I think it's because of T1 a little bit, but it could be a host of any reason, man. You have no idea. Let her go. Yeah, bro. Enjoy it, man. Enjoy it, bro. God bless you, Andrew. Oh, he gave me $1, baby. God bless y'all. You're Uber drivers from Bangladesh. This is dope. Have you never met a foreigner before? Dude, are you in Bangladesh? He's like, yo, John. Bro, this dude they don't speak English. He speaks 2 languages. Is it because we've been talking India a lot? I'm just messing with you, man. I'm just messing with you. That was serious education. Well, I hope, man. Dude, I love this stuff, dude. Like, I really, and that's what I'm saying, like, bro, for real, like, I'm telling you, bro, if you don't care to, like, learn at this level, like, respectfully, fuck you. I'm telling you, bro, 90% of the arguments you're getting in is BS, and then the other 5% of intellectuals have betrayed you for money or societal view. That's sadly the reality of it. It's a small portion, but like for real, if you want like to be educated, it's not, and there's an element you could take it to, and it could go really, really deep, but it's fun. You know what I'm saying? Like I love answering these questions, and like I'm even thinking about it. You know what I'm saying? Theorizing, understanding our world, and that's why, like, dude, do you not realize? Like, I hope you guys realize what's about to happen. But this is why I always tell you, think about all the hours we've already spent on this. You know what I'm saying? But like, what is gonna happen is like you see, it's 1 layer, 2 layer, 3 layer, like it's all connect. It's like by the end of this, bro, you're gonna realize what it means when it's like economics, bro, is like it's like 100 different things all intertwining. This is why I could know a lot of shit and still not really see it materialize in a way where you would expect. You can't. Do you get? You know what I'm saying? It's impossible. You could understand theory and you could understand economics, but when it is all said and done, by the end of this, you're going to see how we're connecting all of these things, and it's 1 layer after the next, all moving, all trading every single day. Money is moving, the world is turning, and it's like it's a trippy ass concept. But that's why I'm saying, like, if you really, it's not an easy task. But that's why Henry Ford says, right? If people really understood the monetary system, they would revolt tomorrow, and you would like, it's so deep. But if you are really up for the task and journey, and you want to learn, not just because you want to sound smart, or not just because like you think it's gonna make you a billionaire, but like you are truly want knowledge. And this is knowledge of the world. I recommend you also get other knowledge, man. Amen. You know what I'm saying? But like, that's the thing. Like, I believe in God, bro. And like, but like, you got to think about it. My pursuit of an invisible God, right? A sky daddy you can't see. This is just a money sky daddy, bro. You know what I'm saying? But like, that's I have a desire. I want to understand. I want to understand the unknown, and I also understand there will be things I will never know. You know what I'm saying? But like, this is a religion to a degree. Like, and that's where I'm like, some people, they want to go to and clap their hands and sing and all of this, but I'm saying, like, some people, when it does come down to economics and understanding this all, there's some people who they want a real relationship with it, and they are seeking it. And that, my friend, is where I think you're going to get some good shit. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, man, the unofficial. You might have to. I love you, man. I love you, bro. It was just a data feed issue, but it was like unofficially halted. Like, you could even go see it. I show it in the beginning of the video, but like, SPY, this is real. We were in, like, even intraday on stream, like Dow and SPY. It wasn't a halt because of a limit or anything, just data issues, quotes stopped moving. But the fascinating, oh shit, I don't have the screen up. But the fascinating part was that everything worked the same, even the option prices in real time. It was crazy. No, I don't think it's testing anything out. No. We've seen similar things like that. I think we, like, legitimately, no exaggeration, a couple days ago, you just changed the way money settles. And that's the first time that we have done that in 100 years. So no exaggeration, it was the Great Depression last time you had a cash settlement system like this. So this is just new. And I think that's part of it. Not to mention there could be other outside influences, but you know what I'm saying? Without realming into, tinfoil land, and I'm not saying you can't, but it's just more or less, I think it's just a huge shift that has occurred. And then the fact that everything worked at the same time is more so like, yo, that should tell you something. But then again, too, liquidity is a problem. When it wants to be a problem. So, yes, sir. So if I believe in you and we believe in each other, do you believe in me? No. Don't believe in me. Don't believe in anybody, man. Humans will let you down over and over again. You know what I'm saying? The biggest mistake you could ever make, and it's easy to do, is put somebody on a pedestal. You know what I'm saying? That's like, literally, we are nothing. We are dirt, and put God on a pedestal. But no, man, I'm telling you, I know. I like to think I offer great things, and I'm gonna do my thing. But like, at the end of the day, you have to, you don't really ever have to be like, it's not about believing in humans are fallible. I mean, we'll get to the lesson of it. You know what I'm saying? Like, this does, like, it's funny because this is what I mean about the layers. Because like, when it's all said and done, you can know everything, and you could, let's say you have AI, and you could understand all of the layers in real time as they are moving in pure conceptualism, right? You still can never, ever factor in human stupidity or human arrogance, human greed, and fallibility. You know what I'm saying? So, I don't know. I say that as a good thing, man. I don't say it to, like, don't trust me, don't trust this, but I do caution you from belief in man. There's a reason why I scream Jesus every day. And it's just like, even then, be shrewd as a snake, bro. Dude, in this world, it's crazy. And like, even then, I'm. Hello? Yeah, I think I'll end on that, though. I didn't want to leave you. Dude, I don't know what the hell just happened. Everything just cut off. Just everything, bro. That just all my internet. Too much Uyghur talk. As we talked way too much. We didn't even talk about Trump going to. I guess he didn't go to jail, but I guess you'll have to wait till the stream now. So, Chad Adonia, I love you. God bless you. Thank you for being here, but I'm going to wrap it up, man. That's a good hour and a half. A beautiful one. I'll see y'all in the AM. I love you. Thank you for being here, man. And for real, man, all my true lifelong learners and those of you who are looking and seeking you will find, my brother. You know what I'm saying, bro? So God bless you all. I hope you have a good prayer tonight, man. Make a prayer tonight. You know what I'm saying? There you go. Relax a little bit, man. Trust me. Trust me. That's what you could trust me on. Go pray, meditate. For you, I don't get it. You pray. I don't benefit off of it, man. Let's go, man. But, Chad, I love you. God bless you all. Thank you again for being here. And don't forget, baby, finger to the sky. To God be the glory. To the grace of God alone, baby. Oh, no. Amen.